World Arts Academy provides professional development for emerging, practicing, and master dance artists, teachers, administrators, and scholars through advocacy and professional development opportunities that advance dance as a performing art in educational sectors and communities throughout the world. Our faculty teaches diverse dance genres in a variety of environments including, but not limited to, K through 12 schools, dance studios, colleges, and community centers. World Arts Academy envisions dance reimagined, reflective of our differences and supportive of all who dance and teach dance. A world where dance education is equitable, accessible, valued, and preserved. Please visit our website at worldartsacademy.com to see our impressive faculty, view our workshop calendar, enjoy distance learning, or help our mission by becoming a patron.
The Danceology podcast interviews the great masters of dance, the working professionals starring in today's most exciting shows, and the rising stars ready to amp up the craft. I'm your host, Edyta Sliwinska from Dancing with the Stars. Join me as I dive into the world of dance, uncovering unique stories and the fascinating personalities of industry professionals on Danceology. Sasha and Irina, I have not talked to you guys in a very long time, and I have so many questions. But let's start from the most recent events. You just came back from International Dance Festival, which we all know, at least in dance community, as International, where you danced the final round in historic Royal Albert Hall. Very special, I bet. I want you to tell me about it too. But for those listeners who don't know what it is, can you tell me about this experience? What it is, what it's like to compete in this pretty much iconic competition, starting from like the elimination rounds, what it's like, how many couples compete, and how did you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to start?
No,
You want me to start? I believe that the International Championships has been running for the past 70 or so years. Not exact on the exact number, but I think since 1945 or so. And it is one of the major championships in the world that we have for ballroom dancing. And it is a very special event because couples from all over the world come to compete against each other and perform at their best. And the other special thing about this event is that it does have preliminary rounds that run in a different venue. So for many years, it used to be in Brentwood, in a town called Brentwood, and now it's switched to a town called Gillingham, which is about 2 hours east of London.
So what it's like, you arrive in London and you have the elimination rounds, you go to this town, what is it called, Glentwood?
Gillingham.
Gillingham, why do I think Glentwood? Gillingham. You go to Gillingham and what happens? Like what time do you need to wake up?
It depends which categories do you dance, because I think now the festival runs the whole week, and some couples do need to wake up now with everybody having
What do
hair.
you do? Like what is your experience? Like what do you do?
Our experience is a bit different because since those couples that have previously made semi or a final, they don't have to go to Gillingham. So we didn't
dance it last year.
Yeah, because in 2023 2022 we were not able to attend International. Then no matter our ranking in the world, we have to start from the beginning. So we did go last year, and then it was actually a very late competition. Last year, amateur Latin qualifiers were starting around midnight, and we danced well into 2:30 a.m.
Wait a second. The qualifying round started at midnight?
Yes, it was very late. I think maybe the event was running late. We started very late, and it was actually already into Thursday. So we started maybe 11:30 on Wednesday p.m. and then danced into the night hours and morning hours of Thursday.
How does it affect your body, dancing this late at night?
For me, it was very bad. I felt like I was sleeping and dancing at the same time. I couldn't move my limbs properly. I felt like I was jet lagged, although we were already maybe like a week and a half in London. So I was totally acclimated, but when I was dancing at that hour, I just felt like I was jet lagged all over again.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise for us. Although we knew the schedule, we didn't think it was going to run that late. And previously, I remember, because Royal Albert Hall happens on a Thursday, previously Amateur Latin would do qualifiers on a Tuesday. And that year, for some reason, it was on a Wednesday. So starting Wednesday late night into the morning of Thursday, and then driving back an hour and a half to London afterwards to go to, after you shower and everything, and you go to sleep around 3:30, maybe even later, to wake up to dance in the Royal that same day. It was a little bit, I mean, not complaining, but it was more stressful than what we would normally do.
Yeah, I was contemplating whether I should wash off my hair
Or just keep it.
and do new hair for Albert Hall, or just keep it, but I did wash it.
You should have slept like geishas used to sleep, you know, with like a little pillow under your head.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
so true. Okay, so first of all, I'll go back to that next day in Royal Albert Hall. How many couples competed in your category? Approximately. Give me like an approximate number.
Let's say around 200, somewhere from 150 to 200, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next day, so there are 200 couples, and I believe the 48 dance in Royal Albert Hall next day.
Correct.
So you come back home around 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., and then you have to wake up in the morning and dance another 3 or 4 rounds in Royal Albert Hall. So first of all, tell me about that experience, and tell me, how did you do this year? For the people that don't know the result.
So this year we skipped the Gillingham stage because we were in a final the year before. So we went straight to Albert Hall, and we started from, the competition started from 48. And I personally very much like Albert Hall. It's a grand venue where you kind
of, it's a concert venue,
yeah, you come up from kind of underneath on a stairs, and this whole space opens up, and it just, you feel like you're like in the church or something. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, this year we placed second in our Amateur Latin division, and dancing in Royal, I think, is one of the most special experiences because of the size of the room and also the capacity that it has. I remember last year it was announced that it was sold out, and it was approximately 5,000 spectators in the room. So, and what's special about Royal as opposed to other events, I find that in Royal Albert Hall, because of its location in central London, right on the edge of Hyde Park, it attracts general spectator audience. It is not just the parents or the teachers or the people who dance. It is people who want to see ballroom dancing on an evening in London. So I find that is a very special event because of that you have general spectators that have sometimes nothing to do with dancing. They just came in to watch. Whereas in places, let's say at the UK Open or at Blackpool, we generally have mostly our dance industry audience.
Right. So you came second. Was it a success or something that you expected?
A bit of both.
A bit of both. Of course, we wanted to win. That was our goal. And I think that we retained our placement from our other championships, which is, I think, also important. And at the same time, we were happy with our performance overall. We've seen quite a lot of videos and did reviews, and I think that was our summary and conclusion of the event.
So now you're back in Utah, and where you live currently, and you're back to your kind of normal routine, I would assume. Many people don't understand what it takes to get to the level where you are, the amount of training, the amount of sacrifice. You work incredibly hard. I just can say from my own experience, knowing what it takes. Can you tell me what the day of your life, a typical day of your life, looks like? How much you train, how much you teach, how much time you spend on the dance floor versus doing other things?
You go.
Yes, we did come back on Friday and evening and started teaching on a Saturday morning. So I think a typical day, normally we wake up in the morning, I would say around 8 o'clock or so. And sometimes, generally we try to practice before any teaching. So we schedule practice first, and there are times where we do supplemental training, such as physical workouts or training with gyrotonics, something that helps to keep our bodies fit and flexible.
How many hours a day do you practice on the dance floor?
How many hours?
Yes.
I would say average would be 2 to 3 hours, let's say.
So 2 to 3 hours on the dance floor, and then every day some kind of gyrotonics, or maybe every other day?
We are not every day. No, not every day. It is quite costly and expensive also to do that. So we alternate workouts and gyrotonics, because I find that workouts make you stronger and gyrotonics keep you flexible and mobile and aligned. So it's very important for us to do both. So
you practice, let's say, early morning, then you do whatever else you do, and then you teach on top of it.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So around 2 o'clock or so, 2:30, we stop practicing, and then after that we go straight into teaching. And sometimes even without any breaks, just the last dance, turn off the music, quickly switch the clothing, and straight to teaching. And then we would teach generally from around 2:45, 2:30 until 7:30.
So your whole day is absolutely physical. It's all physical work, basically.
Yes.
That is incredible. We will talk about teaching a little bit later, but I wanted to touch upon, you work so hard, and I met the two of you guys shortly after you started dancing together, and I got to watch you a little bit. You both were very driven, very talented, very hardworking. But I believe that there are a lot of hardworking and talented and quite skilled dancers out there. What separates the two of you from all these other dancers? What is it that makes you go all the way to the top and be second and first? And it doesn't happen for all these hundreds of other couples. You said there were 200 couples in your category, and there are many of these competitions throughout the year.
I kind of want to say that it's not by accident. Like, let's say experiences that made us dancers that we are today, and people that we are today. When we have put those experiences and two of us together, I think that really helped us propel and just kind of get through in our dancing to the top. I feel like because I have, coming from a Russian background where my family didn't have money for dancing, and I was just basically craving to learn and just attending group classes and basically learning from the group classes mostly. I was really craving to be a good dancer, and I think that drive just got me through to where I am today. And then after Russia, I had a bit of Scandinavian Danish schooling where I really was given basics, and they put my feet correctly, so to say. And then with my Danish partner, we kind of got through into the scene. already then. So I think that breakthrough helped me to become the dancer and the human that I am today. And then by the time I met Sasha, I was a little bit more established than he was. Sure. I was in a semifinal of amateur, and then by the time I met Sasha, and I saw his talent and I saw his dedication as well. And I think when we kind of put our efforts together, I just felt like nothing could stop us to keep developing. That's
funny. I felt that too. So you think it's the drive that you had initially, and then the together as a couple that made you guys.
Yeah, a little bit of circumstances, life experiences, and the drive.
Yeah, I think that it's a combination. I don't think it's one thing for sure. I think it's a combination of different things, and I agree with everything that Arina mentioned. And I think a big part of it is the support that we have had from the beginning for each other, the support that we have always had from the beginning of the industries from our families. And I don't mean, like Arina said, both of our families come in from not a financially well background. So I mean that there is a group around us, and that we try to surround ourselves with people, whether teachers or our peers, that are driven and supportive. And sometimes I find that is very important also for a good career. And I can't tell you what we do really different from others, because I don't know what majority of them do, but I can only say what we do. And I agree that the drive and the belief is a big part of it, and that in every situation that so far we have encountered, we have never said to ourselves that this is something that we can pull through or break through. Like you said, all of the experiences that we've had, whether negative or positive, have always driven us to be better. And we've had, I think, quite a few of interesting experiences, and now what is 10 years dancing together. So definitely the belief, the support, the drive, and just the continuous love for what we do.
So you want to tell me it was not an overnight success?
Oh, it does seem like we did the tour together yesterday, but if you look, it's been almost 10 years. My goodness.
I do realize that. Tell me a little bit about that support, because do you feel like you get more support here in Utah rather than, I think you were in New York before? I know that another couple, good friends of yours, have moved to Utah, Oscar and Carolina. Is that part of your support? Is that important to you?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I find that the timing of it is also important. I think the timing of the move, we moved, it was around COVID time, and Oscar and Carolina have been asking us previously, before COVID, to come and move and live here and teach, but we felt quite good in New York. But then the timing of it worked out quite well when we moved, and seeing the community here of dancers and being part of this community of our peak performance family, so to say, is a big part of it. I find that we're able to share our knowledge with the kids. We're able to be with like-minded people like Oscar and Carolina and other professionals that are here. And it definitely makes you zone in much more. When we moved here, I found that we could quiet everything else out and just zone in into our dancing, where New York scene and everything is a bit full of, let's say, unnecessary distractions if you are really tuned into the dancing. Again, timing wise, I think for us and our stage and age in our dance career, it was very well timed. Maybe not in the beginning, but yeah.
And Oscar and Carolina, they provided us safe space and only one space. Because in New York we had to travel from studio to studio, and it takes a lot of time and energy to travel from studio to studio where you practice and where you teach, and then you go back home. So here we definitely could just come to one studio, practice all we want, teach in the same studio, and go home and rest.
I think it's very hard to get that sense of community in a big city. And I actually think that not only in dancing, but in any area of your life, the community is extremely important. That support is extremely important. And it's so interesting to hear from you, the two of you, that this was, might have been part of, I believe it was part of your success, and it contributed to you being prepared to this top position. So you guys, when I met you 10 years ago, as we discovered, you guys were the ones chasing other couples to the top. Now you are the ones being chased. How does it feel? What's the difference between, between the attitude of being the one on the top and kind of defending your position rather than being one climbing onto the, to that top position?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you prefer? Which position do you prefer? Where do you feel more comfortable?
Both are difficult.
Both are difficult, yeah. I think that the more you have to lose, the more stressful it is, the more pressure there is on you, right? But it seemed, at least to me, that our general chase, as much as results are always important, I don't think I'll say that, I've always just done this just because I enjoy dancing. I love dancing, but I love winning, and I love becoming better so that I can have better results. But it is the focus on trying to get better. It is the focus on improving our dancing and searching for further development that keeps our minds in the place where we can constantly get better and not worry with what happens, whether we're in front or we're behind. Obviously, I think competing with higher level couples and being in the atmosphere of a challenge is always helpful on the competitive edge. But by now we're trying to deliver the performance. Doesn't matter if we dance in a small competition somewhere or it's a big major event, we try to create that performance within ourselves. So
I feel like when we were trying to get through, my personal feeling was that it was very difficult to have the confidence and be confident in your product, because if it's not appreciated, then you're like, oh, something is definitely wrong, we have to keep digging even better. And then you get all these like different opinions, even like from the people that you don't have lessons. They just like might say something like, oh, good job, but like the dress, or like you didn't have such a good night. And then you start doubting yourself so much that what you do is not enough. So you keep searching, and then you go and you deviate to the wrong direction, then you get rebounded to the right direction, then you maybe finally find the middle. And then it's very difficult to listen to your own voice when you don't have the confidence in your product and you kind of being bombarded with the opinions. Then you don't hear what you actually want, and you feel like what you want is not enough. So I felt like when we little by little got through, we started being more confident, and finally confident in what we do. And we now know that what we've always believed in actually is right. And it actually works, and our voice was always right. It's just because when you're on the way, you just don't hear it. You're afraid to do something wrong. But when you like get there, then you finally, I can a little bit relax. I still have to kick my own butt when I go on the floor if I don't have anybody higher than in general in ranking than us. I still have to like be better than I was yesterday. So it's a little different.
Well, listen, first of all, you know the saying, it's not the destination, but the journey that we take that really matters. But also from what I hear from you, you are in a better place in terms of you trust yourself more, you are more confident, but there is more pressure.
Yeah.
Is that right? So speaking about pressure, correct me if I'm wrong, did the couple that won amateur, did they move to professional division?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you are guys going to have this pressure right now of winning it. Is that something you think about? How do you going to bite that issue? You guys are next in line to the big title, to win it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're just going to focus on dancing a lot, and like a lot to focus on our dancing and what we do, and not try and do anything very different from what we do and what we are good at.
Because it works, right? What you do works.
Yeah,
it works. Yeah.
And our world championship is in less than a month now, so yeah, we're just gonna train and try to create the best performance we can.
Listen, do you remember your goals 10 years ago when you started dancing together? How do these goals compare to your achievements today?
I think I overachieved my goals.
You overachieved your goals? That is amazing. That is so good to hear. What about you, Sasha?
I always had this sentence in my head that I wanted to become a world champion. So I definitely feel like this is one of the goals that I am still dreaming to achieve and hopefully will achieve within the next month. But it still, in many ways, seems surreal because you are the same person that was dreaming about it. You're older and hopefully wiser, more experienced. But yeah, definitely many goals. I think I agree with Arina. Some of the goals maybe overachieve sometimes, but mostly just, yeah, this one was always one for me that I wanted to achieve.
I kind of have another question, but I think I'm going to keep that question for later because I don't want to spoil what we have here. But you know, I wanted to ask you about your vision for the future. So let's say you win it. What's next?
UK in January.
UK Open in January.
Then Blackpool
in May. And then it's international that just happened in October. That's how we live our lives. We don't know anything else. We just know January, May, October, and November.
Have you won and you came second on so many of these competitions? Do you feel like the pleasure that you get, the satisfaction that you get from winning and making the final diminishes every single time you make that final and you win it? Or does it still feel amazing and fresh to you? I'll tell you honestly, when just from my experience before you guys give me your answer, the first time, let's say I ever won competition, I remember it very well. I don't remember many other competitions. That one I would definitely remember. The first season of Dancing with the Stars, I would remember. The first final of Dancing with the Stars I made, I will remember very well. Not that all the other consecutive ones were different, but I do feel that we sort of get used to success. And it's a terrible thing, but that's human nature. Have you ever felt that and thought about it? Or maybe you don't feel like that.
I definitely feel like the emotions and the euphoria and the excitement of the first final is probably something that we'll remember forever. At least I will. But every comp I go into, I never expect that we're going to be in the final. In my mind, so for me, it still feels great. And actually, not result-wise, but the experience-wise, it actually for me gets better with each time because I find that each time we make a final, like international, I can have a different experience, and maybe I brought something new that I want to try out or practice or dance on the floor. And like, for example, the last international for me was a whole new experience. And because maybe there's less stress, maybe there's more different agendas, but I do find that I enjoy it even more. I don't feel maybe as excited or thrilled as the first final, but I definitely enjoy it more and more.
I can see that. Let's switch gears and talk about your relationship, because you spend enormous amount of time together. You pretty much spend a whole day together, and then you go home, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that you are in your private life, in relationship as well, and you are succeeding in it. You are not only succeeding in it, you stay together, you also accomplishing things together. What makes a good relationship? And I think you guys are qualified to talk about it because you spend so much time together. You spend more time together than couples that have been married for 20, 30, and 40 years sometimes. People that go to work, 9 to 5 and come back home and take care of kids, and they sometimes hardly talk to each other. You guys, from the other hand, see each other all the time. Tell me, what do you think? What makes a good relationship?
Well, in my opinion, I feel like we have a very similar, let's say, views on dancing, on the career, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that helps us to like kind of get along at work and at practice. Yeah, of course we have discussions, we have arguments sometimes, but I feel like we can usually find the common ground. And when we're at home, it's actually very easy. I think, first of all, we're like best friends, first of all. Then I think we have a lot of trust in each other. And I think that really through the years, going through ups and downs together, our relationship has been tested like a lot. So, and just kind of sticking together through it all really makes it like even more unbreakable, I feel.
Yeah, I find that for me also one of the key elements of it is not trying to make the other person be like yourself or do things that you would want them to do, whether in dancing or in personal life. Allowing the space for the person to do or be how they want to be, I think, is a big part of being able to sustain long-term partnerships or relationships, and being in love with the way that the other person is without having to change them. And I think that's the ultimate, to me, that is the why, I love Arina and why I love her as a person and as a dancer.
Right, accepting who they are and loving them for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with that. How do you keep your relationship fresh, spending this much time together?
Well, it's a little dusty at the moment. It's not.
Or you don't feel like you need to. Listen,
I feel like we could use a vacation, like
that's
a
true.
not connecting to dancing vacation. Like just go like to a resort or something, not having to do a show or lessons. But we never dare to spend money on that. We always connect it with competition or camp or lessons.
Yeah, because I think, the more we try, the less we do. We never really have that time.
We should go sometimes to like a restaurant or something.
That's true. That is
maybe
true.
on our anniversary.
Yes. Yes, in November 1st, it will be 7 years that we're married.
Oh, what, November 1st?
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know what? I think that just shows how much sacrifice it takes to achieve what you guys achieve. And that's the choice that you make, and you get an enormous amount of satisfaction out of it. And, perhaps in the future you will have time for more vacations. And, when your career is over, which, by the way, have you ever thought about retiring? How do you see your retirement?
Every other practice. I'm just kidding, but not really. No. Yeah, we definitely thought about it. I think we both realized that we can't compete forever. And, there will come a time, I think, where we will feel that, and we have certain plans, but there will come a time where we'll feel that we've done what we wanted to do, so to say, and it's time to move on to our next chapter and take a different role.
And how do you see your life then? How do you envision your life? You still gonna teach? You're gonna have family?
I think you have a great story how you envision. It's very different between the two of us, I think. Arina enjoys teaching as well.
No, I enjoy teaching.
Yes, but she has a strong passion.
It does not involve vacations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a dream to open a animal rescue ranch where I could pull animals from kill shelters.
You know what? That is an amazing dream, and I think the place where you are is perfect for it.
Yes, I'm looking for a land.
And you know what? I really hope you realize this dream. And as much as Sasha might not be quite convinced to it, what is your vision, Sasha?
No, I'm fully convinced that.
Where do you fit in that vision?
The wall of the building will be shared between the dance studio and the shelter, because the kids could come in and learn the lessons.
And adopt animals. That's right.
Adopt a dog, or just go for a walk with the dog between the lessons. But no, I find actually also big part when you were talking about community. I think big part of realizing yourself and also feeling fulfilled for me has been teaching. And specifically teaching kids, teaching someone who is looking for development and progress and sees you as a teacher and an active dancer and sees your progress and gets inspired by it. And for me, this has been to
sees value.
Yeah, sees value in your journey. And I think that for me, we've had quite a few. Not quite a few, but a few experiences with having our students have success, whether it be better dancing or great results. And that for me is just something that I cherish, and I find this makes me fulfilled. So for sure in the future, I would love to pass on the knowledge and the drive to the future generations for the dancing.
I do hear that you are both incredible teachers. I know one of your students, Masha, is the daughter of my very good friend Regina, a very talented and beautiful dancer, and she thinks a world of you guys. So I do hear that. So teaching right now, what it is to you, I understand it's your passion, Sasha, but let's talk about money. Dancing, it's incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? How do you justify working so hard and spending all that money on your dancing?
Just don't think about it. I think that maybe it is not clever financial advice in that sense, but we try to our best extent not to put that first in terms of working. We know that we have to work to support our dancing, and there's no way going around that. But I don't think twice for a second about that. All the things that we earn from dancing that we put straight back into the dancing, and whatever else that we have to, whether the living or the traveling or the whatever. I think it's probably not the most wise not to be investing in the retirement and so on and so forth. But at the moment, this is our life, and I think hopefully we will have enough time to do the next stage of it as well.
Yeah, now you know we don't have retirement account.
But you might have a world champion title, and that it's, you know, and one day you will wake up and you will say that was all worth it, because not only you have the title, you enjoyed your journey, and then you have this really wonderful relationship together. Do you have any ideas how to make dancing more affordable for people? There are so many kids that maybe could dance, and it's just so ridiculously expensive that I can imagine a lot of families that simply cannot afford it.
Yeah, it's getting more and more expensive.
It is getting more and more expensive. Well, our studio, not our studio, but the studio where we work, the studio of our friends Oscar and Carolina, for example, they run a membership-based program. So the group classes, the practicing, and the visiting instructor group classes, and loads of things are within a membership. And if you count the individual price of our group class per group class, it comes down to something around under $4. So, and I find that is much more affordable than, let's say, the prices that we used to pay back in New York City, or the prices that I normally know about. For sure, I have yet to hear about a studio in the world that includes visiting instructors' master classes into the price of a monthly membership. And
well, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe when you guys gonna be the ones traveling and doing master classes, you can start a new trend. And I don't know, throwing it out, throwing it out.
For sure. Yeah, I think there are ways, and hopefully by raising right now, it's been 4 years here, so we can see, let's say, some youth kids become amateur and some juniors become youth, and slowly they're also starting to teach, and slowly there is a community and a system, so to say, being built. And then I find that Oscar and Carolina are they created a space not only where dancers can learn, but there's a space where kids can have time and space where they enjoy spending time together. So it is not just, let's say, the background that we both come from, where it's just, let's just practice and get better because we want to become better dancers. There's a lot of...
I had fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Like, like in my home country, there are dance clubs, and you are part of the club, and you have friends there, and it was...
No, I'm not saying that. I just say that there's space for kids to sit and do homework, and then they can go back to dancing. Like, I used to go to the studio just to practice and have the groups. I wouldn't... I'm just trying to say that there's more...
Maybe back in New York.
Yeah. So hopefully by the time these kids grow up, there's also a better environment for kids to learn in, and hopefully more affordable as well, because there's different levels of teachers and teachers with better knowledge. Because...
like younger students in the studio, they can have lessons with our students who are youth and amateur, who have our knowledge. We pass them our knowledge, and they can have them for cheaper price. And they can have us, for example, which we are more expensive. They can have us once in a while, but they can still get the right knowledge. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you that the sense of community is absolutely priceless. I have recently went to a birthday party to one of our students at Genesis. Genesis was a dance studio that my husband's family used to own. And there was a generation of dancers that became really good friends. Very similar situation. Some of them were even teaching in our studio, the younger students. And I'm talking right now, good almost 20 years later, We went to a birthday party where there are a few couples that are still really good friends. They all have children. They all spend time together. They are all really close, and they just progress in a different stage of their life. By the way, they all stopped dancing when they went to college. I think maybe one couple or one of them kept dancing. They all have completely different careers, but the friendship that they formed during those years dancing not only, I believe, made them better human beings, but those friendships mean everything to them. And just to watch them, to me, was first of all an incredibly inspiring. And I think what they have is very, very special. So I think you guys building this community, I think you will be rewarded very, very soon. But listen, how do we get boys to dance?
That's a great question.
How do we get these boys to dance? I keep hearing from the girls. I teach very little, but I hear all the time, I don't have a partner. I'm looking for a partner. I can't find a partner. You know, Masha used to travel to Utah to dance with her partner, which is an incredible commitment for an 11, or 12-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Do you find that even in Utah there is shortage of boys? I would call it.
To a certain extent, yes. I think that there's always could be more boys in dancing, but I think explaining and nurturing the values and the great advantages that dancing brings into lives of boys is something that could generate a greater interest in boys going to dance, because I do think it still has a little bit of a bad rep of that boys dance, especially when kids go to school or wherever they go, and you go to dance. I don't know if it's still like this today, but it seems like that way a little bit. Maybe in Utah it's not to such an extent, because Utah is such a big dance-driven state and a community. But generally, especially when it gets to a higher level, the other side that we face with boys here is obviously the mission that they have to lead onto, right? So that's a big thing that we have experienced here, and everybody.
I'm sorry, how long is the mission? How long do they have to? 2 years. That is very hard to continue your dance career after 2-year break at the prime time when you are 18 or 19. I'm not sure. 18. Yeah. That is almost impossible.
We have taught through already a period of time to have encountered people who have left and come back. So we do have one boy who recently came back, and he danced Blackpool 2022 and left, and then came back in June of 24, and he's back to dancing. Frankly, better. Better now. Yeah. So I think that there is.
There's hope.
It is a tricky time. You could definitely get quite far ahead, but this boy, for example, was able not to lose any of his skills. I don't know if he
skills or drive, motivation.
Yeah.
He still has lots of motivation.
But it does make us sometimes a little bit. We don't give any less effort or put any less effort into anyone. But that thought that, so to say, how this movie ends, and could be sometimes makes us a little bit sad.
What happens to the partners, to the girls that stay behind? Do they still dance? Do they quit? With your experience?
Actually, girls also sometimes go on a mission.
Okay.
But they usually either start with a different partner or look for a different partner, or maybe they switch styles. Maybe they just choose only ballroom or smooth.
Yeah, because when we came here, there was a big culture of having different partners for different styles. So if somebody did ballroom, Latin, and smooth,
such a headache.
Then they would have 3 different partners: one for Latin, one for ballroom, and one for smooth. Because rhythm is still not really developed here. So in that sense, it did save them a lot of the times. If the Latin partner went on the mission, you still had ballroom and smooth. But
hopefully we can spread them out in different times, in different periods of time.
So, but now we've worked on changing that quite a lot. So majority of people, if they do 3 styles or 2 styles, they do that with the same partner, which gives them much more availability of practice and easier schedules. Everybody loves it much more.
So you have lived in Utah for 4 years. You must have become familiar with the Mormon culture. How do you find there are so many controversies around Mormon religion, and I bet so many myths, and I have a lot of Mormon friends, and obviously we can't generalize. Everyone is different. What is your experience with Mormon religion and community?
I mean, so far it's been great. I think overall, I find that the people are kind, they are forthcoming and helpful. I think it's hard for us to really answer this question because it is intermingled with the dance community, because we have not really spent enough time outside of the dance community here in Utah. So within the dance community, the Mormon religion and the church has been nothing but great towards us. And we also not only teach at the studio, but we teach at the Brigham Young University. And yeah, I find that the kids and the team and everybody is very supportive towards us and just helpful, you know, in many situations outside of dance sometimes as well. So welcoming, definitely welcoming. We just recently, had to, let's say, find another apartment for Arina's mom, who recently arrived, and the people have been nothing but helpful and welcoming and really, really nice.
Yeah, our experience so far is, in general, is I'm super appreciative, and I respect these people so much because they put their ego aside and they just, like, they are forthcoming, like Sasha said. They're so helpful, and you also want to be the same with them. Like, you don't feel that like they, you know, the bitter, like in New York, you see a person, they're like, oh, okay.
True. There's a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. Yes. People are a lot more stressed. That's for sure.
Of course, you never know what's on the person's mind, but I just love that they follow the religion so much that they actually apply it and they do the deeds, you know. They don't just kind of talk about it and they don't do anything.
Having Sundays off has been great as well, because they're it is not allowed to be doing anything but spending time with family, and that is great.
What is happiness to you? Tell me what makes you truly happy. How do you define happiness?
Dogs. Dogs.
But that is a great, you know what? That is a great answer. Dogs make you happy outside of the dance floor. What about success in life? How would you define success in life?
Doing things that you choose to do and you want to do on your own terms, and being, I guess success is happiness, and happiness in a way is success, being happy with what you're doing and hopefully being able to choose what you want to do and be able to do it.
Yeah. I think happiness is dogs for sure, but also is feeling of being enough and having enough of what you have, that you don't strive to have more, a bigger house, a bigger car, more trophies. I feel like if you come to a place of being content inside and you feel like this is actually it. Like I'm not chasing anything or anyone anymore. I think this is when it kind of all comes together. But I believe that you can be ambitious, right? Because without ambitions, it's very difficult to achieve anything. But I guess there should come a time where you've achieved what you wanted, and that's it.
And then you can focus on your dogs. Listen,
Dogs.
thank you so much for this absolutely amazing conversation. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for showing us what it takes to get where you are. It was absolutely a special treat for me to talk to you as a friend and also as a big fan. I love following your successes. You're absolutely wonderful. I wish you only the best. I will be watching you and following your further journey. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you achieve whatever goals and whatever success you dream in the future. Now, tell us where we can find you on social media. So anyone who wants to know more about the two of you and follow your journey can do that.
You can definitely find us on Instagram under our first names, Alexander Arina.
Your names are hard to pronounce. Can you introduce yourself properly, Alexander?
Chernositov. My name is Alexander Chernositov.
And
I'm Arina Grishanina.
okay, people, good luck with that one. Well, your names are probably a reflection of a wonderful complexity of the people that you are, and as difficult they are to pronounce, it is an incredible pleasure to watch you guys and to listen to what you guys had to say. So thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Edyta.
Edyta.
Thank you for listening to the Danceology podcast. Please be sure to rate and review this episode. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at danceologypodcast@gmail.com. We are also on Instagram and Facebook at Danceology Podcast and available anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening.
Metacortex Publishing hopes that you've enjoyed this presentation.
Please take a moment to listen to some other podcast offerings from Metacortex Publishing.
A quest is a search for something. And every week, the Quest podcast will show you how we know what we know through interviews with people that have incredible stories of dedication and perseverance. I'm your host, Todd Fisher. Join me in this thought-provoking and inspiring podcast of discovery. Find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Every year, tennis players from around the world compete for excellence, triumphing against all odds to emerge the champions. I'm your host, Maddie Harrison. Join me as I get up close and personal with these dynamic individuals and find out what it takes to go for greatness. Let's go beyond the match.
Hi, I'm Father Daniel Duplantis, a Catholic priest, martial artist, and host of the Karate Priest podcast. Have you ever wondered what the church teaches about different topics? Are you a martial arts enthusiast or just someone who wants to learn more about martial arts? I'd like to invite you to join me and many guests on my podcast as we cover topics of faith, everyday living, and martial arts on the Karate Priest podcast.
The No Earthly Explanation podcast investigates the things that are unexplainable, hosted by world-renowned investigative researcher Donald R. Schmidt and scientist Ellie Ringo. Follow them as they look for evidence for things that have no earthly explanation. Available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Cult Following is a podcast that studies the personalities and common traits of cult leaders and their followers. Get the real story behind these infamous and oftentimes tragic cults from a new perspective, through exhaustive research and from interviews with people that were there. Available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please be sure to rate and review this episode. This podcast is produced by Todd Fisher and Anthony Smith and is distributed by Metacortex Publishing. This podcast is copyright. Any previously trademarked or copyright content is used by permission. Information and opinions stated in this podcast should not be construed as medical advice. Please be sure to visit the official website for Metacortex Publishing at metacortexpublishing.com or find us on social media for other unique content.